All right, so example 4. It says a vertical observatory 120 meters high, from a vertical observatory 120 meters high, an engineer observed that the angle of depression of two landmarks A and B were 60 degrees and 35 degrees respectively. Now, the foot of the observatory from the landmarks are, the foot of the observatory and the landmarks are on the same horizontal line. We are to A, draw a clearly labeled diagram to illustrate the information. All right, so there's an observatory. It's vertical. There is horizontal ground. And on this horizontal ground, there are two landmarks. There are A and B. And it says what? Fine. Observe the angle of depression of two landmarks, A and B, are 60 and 35 degrees respectively. So he's here looking down at A. This is landmark A. And the angle of depression there is 60 degrees. So this is the tower. This is the line of sight of the engineer on the top of the tower looking down at A. The angle of depression is 60 degrees. The angle of depression is the angle between the horizontal and the line of sight. The engineer also looked down at B. This is landmark B. And the angle of depression, which is the angle, so this would be his line of sight. The angle of depression, which is the angle between the horizontal and the line of sight, that angle there is 35 degrees. So landmark A is closest to the engineer. All right. Landmark A is closest to the engineer, and landmark B is furthest away. All right, so let's erase this. This should have been B. This is landmark B. All right, so this is my diagram. The tower is vertical, the ground is horizontal. The angle between vertical and horizontal is always 90 degrees. We're told that the height of the tower is 120 meters. All right. Here's something I would point out. I'd point out that this angle here, which I'm going to call theta, is also 60 degrees. And this angle here, which I'm going to call alpha, is 35 degrees. And so I can tell the examiner that, so A is just asking me to draw the diagram, so we'll draw the diagram. So BI is asking me to calculate the distance the distance from the foot of the observatory to landmark A. So they want me to calculate this distance. I'm going to call it X. It's the distance from the foot of the observatory to landmark A. I'm going to call it X. So I would start out by telling the examiner that theta is equal to 60 degrees. There are alternate angles. The angle of elevation is equal to the angle of depression. They are alternate angles. So since the angle of depression from the observatory to A is 60 degrees, the angle of elevation of the top of the observatory from A is also 60 degrees. The angle of elevation is equal to the angle of depression. They are alternate angles. Now, the 120 is opposite to the 60 degrees, and X is adjacent. The ratio, the trig ratio that includes opposite and adjacent is tan. So I'm going to say tan is equal to opposite over adjacent. Then I'm going to say the tangent of 60 degrees is equal to opposite 120 over adjacent x. If I have one fraction is equal to one fraction, I would cross multiply. So this is x times the tangent of 60 degrees is equal to 1 times 120, which is 120. Divide both sides by the tangent of 60 degrees. So that what I'm left over here so is just what? X. So x would be equal to 120 divided by the tangent of 60 degrees. All right, made a slight error here, easily corrected. Equal, so the distance from A to the foot of the observatory is 69.8 meters. A is 69.8 meters from the foot of the observatory.
9.3, sir.
0.3.
Sorry, 69.3 meters. All right. Next, we're asked to calculate the distance between the two landmarks. I hope you did this. You have to first calculate this distance from A, from all the way from the foot to B. There's no other way to do it. I'm going to call that distance Y. All right. Now, Y is part of this larger right angle triangle where the angle is 35. All right. So let me erase that. So 120 is opposite to the 35 and Y is adjacent. The ratio that includes opposite and adjacent is tan. So I'm going to say tan of 35 degrees is equal to opposite 120 over adjacent Y. If I have one fraction is equal to one fraction, I would cross multiply. So this is Y times the tangent of 35 degrees is equal to 1 times 120, which is 120 degrees. Then I would divide both sides by the tangent of 35 degrees. So therefore, Y would be equal to 120 divided by the tangent of 35. So Y is equal to 171.3 meters. All right, so correction, not 171.3, it's 171.4. All right, so 171.4 meters. And so the distance from the foot to B is 171. The distance from the foot to A is 69.3. So the distance AB would be equal to 171.4 minus 69.3. So the distance AB this is saying 102.1 meters. And so the distance between the two landmarks is 102.1 meters. And that's the end of the question.